bit more and chat about that as we go. Oh,
Whee!
hang on a minute. Look at that. You caught us all preparing. Honestly, we do stuff beforehand.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
There's my plan.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all got one of those. So hello everybody, and whilst we're waiting for a few more people to join, and it's the usual crew where we've got myself and we've got Gary and Steve, but someone's new here, someone different.
Hello.
And hello, Karl. Welcome to our little humble show.
Yes,
Good to see you. So everybody, we've got Karl here for a special show because we've got a bit of a few goodies to show you in a little while to do with the Kickstarter.
Yes, a very cool one.
Yeah,
a very, very nice one as well. And I'm sure we'll show off a few little goodies as we go through the night. But Karl, let's start off with telling us about yourself. What do you do? And of course, you are all Crooked Dice. So tell us about that.
Yeah, Crooked Dice is me. We've been going for about 10 years now. I think it might be 11 in April, actually. And we're predominantly a miniatures company. So we've got about 900 odd figures in the range. And then there's additional resin, terrain and vehicles and stuff as well. And we produce the 7TV series of skirmish games that go on the back of that as well. So
7TV is a lovely sort of bit of pulp action, sci-fi, that type of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's 3 sets. We've kind of retroactively named the first set Inch High Spy-Fi because we never thought we were going to be doing like 4 of them when we started off. But that is James Bond and Avengers and the Persuaders and a kind of a little bit of anything. The good thing about the 7TV games is you can literally play any kind of TV show or film that you've seen. It's all kind of generic and archetype. So you can have the flamboyant agent, but it could be James Bond or Austin Powers or Jason Bourne, depending on the sort of game you wanted to play.
So it's not just the sort of 1960s, 70s sort of spy thriller type games, but TV shows that you're inspired by. It's also a lot of the sci-fi, more modern sort of thrillers as well.
Yeah, you can play it with kind of anything as long as it's kind of cinematic with the sort of games that you enjoy. You can. The first box has got a kind of a cool sci-fi or spy-fi kind of look to it, just because that's where we sort of started off. But since then, we've done 7TV Apocalypse, which is kind of Mad Max and Terminator and zombies in there.
Yeah.
We did 7TV Pulp a couple of years ago, which is your Indiana Jones and Flash Gordon and Rocketeer and gangsters and mobsters and a little bit of Cthulhu stuff in there as well. Yeah. And then in June, we've got 7TV Fantasy. So that'll do everything from kind of Lord of the Rings to fairy tale bits. So the setup for each of the games is the same. There's a huge amount of profile cards in the box, and you can play anything you like with any figures you like. I mean, we've got a decent range, but just
so it's going to be keep an eye on those new releases, particularly like the giant slug.
Slug. Yeah.
Yes. And you've got $1 Million Man running around there as well. So we'll keep an eye on those. But you mentioned Pulp and Cthulhu a little bit there. So I suspect that's something that we can move in nicely to what you're up to on Kickstarter.
Yeah, that is Lurkers from the Deep, which is essentially, we call it a feature pack, right? And again with our little kind of cinematic, all the games have got a cinematic theme. So it's in a little VHS case. But that is essentially a scenario pack for our Pulp game in there. So it's inspired by Shadows over Innsmouth is the inspiration for it. And there's a really good opening paragraph in that story which talks about the government raiding it kind of after the story has kind of happened. And I thought that was ripe kind of material for a skirmish game, really.
So this is where the fish folk are appearing.
Yeah. For people that don't know, Innsmouth is kind of a decrepit New England coastal town where the locals are really kind of, they worship and are kind of transforming into kind of fish people, and they live for a very long while and slowly kind of devolve into these weird fish creatures and then go back into the sea. That's the weird premise of it. So we've sort of adapted that, and like we do with all of our other things, we've kind of assumed that it was an old cliffhanger serial from the 30s and 40s that we've kind of remade, and we've said that the guy couldn't get the rights to do Shadow over Innsmouth, so he made his own one, and we've kind of adapted it and changed it from there.
Okay, so the name of the town for you in this?
We've called it Marshport rather than Innsmouth in there, so it's we enjoy it. So.
Now, of course, there's some fantastic inspiration and imagery that springs to mind straight away, and this is where we bring Gary in. So talk to us a little bit about some of the ins and outs that you've gone through with Gary, and then we'll get Gary to show and talk a bit about some of the pieces.
Yeah. The feature pack is kind of 5 different scenarios in there, so we were really looking for some really kind of iconic buildings that we could use for some of those. When I planned them out, I actually used all of Sarissa buildings to kind of do the table, but realised it probably wasn't quite practical to kind of offer every single one of those. So we've got a good range of kind of iconic locations and objective buildings, as well as just some sort of fantastic mansions and kind of New England kind of settings, which we had a few ideas for Gary, and then he just flew with it.
So Gary, you flew with it, yeah. So
well, I got yes, I had a good number of sort of simple sketches came through of a feel as much as anything. So just taking that and a chat with Karl, we just sort of decided roughly where we're going. And then as much as I did with Gangs of Rome, that wasn't enough. And then we decided to do each of the not every building, but the iconic buildings as both a not mint but a perfect condition, and then a decrepit one. For Sarissa reasons, there's certain features appear in them because they help it link, as Karl says, to other buildings, other ranges, so you can expand your Marshport terrain beyond it. And Karl's even engaged in some certain plans and sketches as well that's taken it into another couple of ranges of ours already, which is quite cool, so, and which is quite good because we've got stuff that even supplements those ones as well for future release. So yeah, I mean, we started with, there was one little image that came which had a bit of a decrepit house.
Oh, that's nice.
With porches. So, usual Gary wandering around finding the camera. So there you go. And that, of course, the roof comes off, the floor comes off. I do at the moment. Now, when everybody asks the questions, these are cardboard cuts. They were done by lickety split quick, so that we could get them done, and they've been marker penned. That's literally just coloured in because it's great. Yeah, it's I got the old marker. Some of them are older than probably. Well, I know one of them's older than AJ. So,
so basically,
we're going back.
Got the crayons out and scribbled.
But yeah, it's just marker pens. They're done inside as well.
Well, we've got some 360 links to some 360 pictures as well, so we'll put some links up as we go. And I think there were some pictures we can throw out later, which you might have seen. Actually, we posted some of those. They're on your site as well, aren't they, Karl?
Yeah, I've been posting them up on Facebook, and then they're on the Kickstarter page of the kind of interiors and 360.
So it's like, that's the intact mansion. I've just taken the roof off because it's quite a heavy beast, the roof. You can see I've done them all on the inside, just different stuff.
So it's all about getting inside those buildings. And
now, because it's gone into a graphic style and not for buildings, folks, I will admit, honesty here, I've got an airbrush and I use wet inks on card and paperwork for long time ago industrial design and the old rendering and visuals on paper and marker pen stuff on layout paper. So that's actually been hit with an airbrush just to get some toning in there. And wearing a hell of a face mask, because this stuff will go down deep inside you if you're being its proper inks.
Be safe. Be safe.
Yeah. So that's that one.
Now, out of all the
And
pieces,
nice thing is,
we've got what 11, 12 pieces, Steve?
12, 12, yeah.
12.
There's 12 sets. I
something
think
like that.
a couple of them have a couple of pieces in them. So yeah.
Yeah. So if you sort of look, that one again, I've used all the crayons to sketch in the planking and draw around it and stuff. So that's got lift off roof. So you've got and then the silo, I'm not sure what, grain port, whatever it is for the dead fish or something to fall out into a railway wagon, whatever it is.
Definitely right.
The fish food on there.
Yeah, well,
so again, each one of these comes in a it's quite nice. I quite like doing, it's that, as Karl likes the cinematography sort of thing, I love it too. So it's always that sort of view.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
there's
the
derelict
feel of
grain
that
down the outside of it. Yeah, you can see. Yeah.
those decrepit ones are just.
And I'll bring
derelict.
Karl's favourite closer.
I think that's most people's favourite.
I think so.
There's been quite a lot of
There we
chatter
go.
about this particular piece.
So because it's out of cardboard, the light doesn't go round, but it actually is designed so you can turn it. I know it's unimportant, but it's one of those things.
So what we need to see,
comes,
we'll have the race to see who's the first person to put a spinning light in it.
I was
Once
thinking,
once they go out.
if I do a board for a show, I think I'm going to try and fit that in.
someone getting a micro motor out, yeah.
That's the one. Yes. Yeah.
So again, that's all separated. So there's a hatch in there, so you've got sort of the access point within the game. The quite nice thing about it is, if I pop that off, you don't always have to have the lighthouse at the same height.
Mini house.
I've been storing this in the shelves behind me, and it's too high to go in between the shelves. So this has been stood like that for quite some time. So it's a mini lighthouse, which brings me to my favourite, which is the truth, as people have already spotted it, the spooky lighthouse.
Spooky Lighthouse.
Which is a real based on a real lighthouse. So.
Proper. That's that's the proper to sort of more original pieces, aren't they?
So all of this came from Karl's brief. So yeah, he wanted some sort of derelict ship or boat.
Lovely, the carcass.
A skeleton of that, and then of course there was it a fisherman's, a boat builder? So we then extrapolated that.
Didn't we? Just looking for kind of iconic shoreline building.
Yeah.
So that's that. And of course that kit will come with the planking is in cut sort of sets, but of course it doesn't stop you building even more in or taking less out. So which is exactly called building more in, if you see. Building less out means exactly the same thing. So that was all inspired by a couple of conversations and a few marker visuals and things that came across from Karl.
Yeah.
Lots of googling of lighthouses and New England buildings, really.
Yeah.
There's traditional spooky house and the Amityville type feel and
Scooby-Doo. A lot of people will have a Scooby-Doo game with that as well.
Yeah. No, they really, really look good.
Yeah, just don't mention Jessica Fletcher. We're not having any of that.
So go out of the buildings and the scenarios, what would you say is your most favourite sort of scenario that you can see coming together from those?
I'm a sucker, really, because I've kind of designed them all around some of the favourite kind of settings that I like. So I like any kind of dockyard stuff. So that derelict kind of refinery, cannery kind of building, I really like anyway. But I've probably got to say the lighthouse one, because it's a real Alamo kind of situation with the kind of a load of US Army Rangers hunkered out around the centre of that lighthouse. as a load of fish creatures come wurgling out the sea at them. So they're trying to kind of hold them off for a while. So I think that'll be.
Is that actually wurgling a word? Is that really what they do?
Yeah, no. I looked that up beforehand just to make sure I was technical. I thought I can't be right. Wurgling.
Brilliant.
Cool.
I think the lighthouse is my favourite.
Yeah, I like the lighthouse. I like the little ruined boat, the wreck, the lighthouse. Is I think we need to find space on that for a board, don't we?
I think we do, and yeah. Well, actually, what sort of size boards are you kitting these scenarios around? What sort of basic?
They are between 2x2 and 3x3, depending on
2x2.
What's needed. All of our staff and all of the games is get into the action quick. It's meant to be kind of that one cinematic scene that you've got. I think mainly from my frustration of wargaming over the years of, I spend the first hour just moving in and don't actually get into contact until hour 2. So it's like get everything going and get it in as quickly as we possibly can.
And then roll some dice.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Getting there. Yeah. Now, of course, Gary's techniques. He's obviously got years of artistic background and all put together in a book for us as well, so we can highlight the book alongside everything. Now the techniques obviously we're showing there, the buildings are cut from cardboard, but the buildings
never far away from one.
Never far away. The MDF, and they'll go together really well, nice and sturdy, and split apart in different levels so people can get in and play. What would you see as being a natural add-on, Karl, to the range that you've got, maybe either buildings or figures wise? Yeah, lost him there.
It's all chasing together.
He's lost his ear. He's lost his ear. Anyway, whilst he's out of touch, Gary.
Well, could you not do it in the form of creative dance? Ask the question.
Yeah, I'll ask the question. What would be the natural extension to that range that we've seen so far?
When it comes to what the game's about and the dereliction and stuff, we already have the okay, I'm going to use it. The Wonky Old West, which is our ghost town, Old West. It's the only way I can key into the right names, which they're all listing buildings, a little bit twisted. There's some nice large Old West buildings like the Ranch House as well, which would fit in with it. And then, of course, we're building onto, the one above this lot on the shelf, which is in the pipeline in the future, which is City Block. Some of that works well, the little Main Street City Block and some of the other things that we've got. So a lot of what we got, it all pulls in. And, of course, the thing that you're flying around as a scenario is quite cool,
Yeah, and we have lost Karl briefly, so I hope he'll be back because it'd be nice to say thank you and adios to him properly. Yeah. But we'll just give it a couple of minutes. But
we've got a couple of questions that we could go through as well.
Okay, let's go for it then. Yeah, whilst we're waiting, seeing.
Mike Blair's asking, is commented that docks would be a natural add-on, and maybe a crane, warehouses.
Yeah.
Have we thought of that already? Maybe done something with
that? I'm not saying a thing.
Yeah.
Tell me not to say anything about that.
No, honestly, the thing with all of this is there is so much, and I've got 5. Steve and I had a chat today, quick one, about something that he's dealing with because I haven't got time to deal with it, and it's another cut. For that, I've got 5 projects on the go, which includes this one and stuff you can't see. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the background. Some of it is creeping out the long grass. Some of it is on another green. So yeah,
so docks of different sorts is definitely something that will be shown off, at some point quite soon. So, yeah.
Cool.
John Harrington's asking about the buildings being available individually. yes, once the Kickstarter's finished and fulfilled, which
Yeah, we
I
were going to.
believe is April, May. Yeah, it's quite a quick turnaround. They will all be available. So individually, and there'll be some bundles and things similar to the Kickstarter. So, but the Kickstarter is the best place to buy them because they're at a really good prices. They are discounted. So,
Sorry, gents, I had some weird reverb going on. I couldn't hear a thing for
that was just us speaking.
That weird noise.
That's generally what it's called.
We just made it up and waffled for a bit.
That's chuntering on again.
Yeah, we just asked, a couple of people have asked some questions. We were just saying that the buildings will be available individually after it's all fulfilled and everything. But I was pointing out the fact that there's some really good deals there and that they're all discounted. So if you were thinking about buying a big pile of them, it would be a good place to start.
Yeah, the MDF only pledge has got I think 60 odd quid off. I think, isn't it? It's from the retail price. It's something like that. Yeah, it's about 30% or something, isn't it? So yeah,
and I think you're just a little bit shy of reaching that scenery goal for the derelict mansion. So just a little bit more to go, but you're doing really well.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
And then,
about $1,000 away from unlocking the two derelict buildings. So the mansion and the house is the next one.
Someone's asked about the scenario lists you did with the buildings. We actually got them now, haven't we? Said we would see if we could do some little offers around those and pull them all in together and mix them up. So we'll sort that out next week.
Excellent.
Before there was I used a lot of the existing ranges. You got the Ghost Town one was really useful for that kind of thing as well, and I think we used some of the Normandy buildings as well. Had the right kind of look for it, so it was easy to kind of plug them together and build bigger tables.
We were just talking about the city block that we do as well, being really ideal for some of the bulk sort of stuff. Heading more into town. Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for popping in, Karl. Great to see it. Although you disappeared for a bit. Technical difficulties, always fun in these times. No, but it's been brilliant pleasure to have you along board, and thank you for letting us work alongside you.
Thank you very much for all of your work on this. I've just been blown away by those buildings. I love them. I think it's a really nice extra add-on to have to a kind of a campaign in there for people to be able to just play the whole thing with some of those.
It looks great. The whole thing looks fantastic. So the little fish town folk, they're great.
I could do loads more of them.
I know.
Excellent. We look forward to more fish folk because there's some. All people need to do is go and have a look at the Kickstarter just to see how cool some of those are, including a Cthulhu sneaking in there somewhere, I believe, as well.
Yes, there's a big old resin Cthulhu in there, and 20 odd fish folk I think there are now. So you can have a good town party if you want to.
Excellent.
Socially distanced, of course.
I think with what they've got, it won't make any difference.
Yeah. 2 inches apart instead of 2 meters.
All right, so thank you, Karl. We'll say goodnight for you.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap up in a little bit, so we're just going to have a bit more of a chat. We'll say see you later. And we've got a few other little things just to mention before we sort of disappear for ourselves for the night, go and get some tea. You might have seen this floating around. Gary, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening with this? Oh, have you got one too?
You've got the one with the floats on, so I thought I'd get the one with the wheels on. So
there you go.
And it comes with both options. And
yes, that's right.
If you don't glue them on, you can switch it between a boat plane and a wheeled version. Yeah. So
the strut system on there just can be dropped off and popped on. So this again is another cardboard one, which is again marker pen just to get it done. So and that, I think that one's a card one you've got there actually, Rich, isn't it? Sprayed.
Yeah.
You won't see a difference between this and the MDF because of the way it's done. So
no.
But they do look fantastic. I'll take the propeller off because I keep catching it.
Yeah.
The propeller was spinning around a minute ago. It's gone.
It's based on a number of aeroplanes and a number of cinematic purposes as well, because Frank Sinatra gets crashes in one and gets captured and then escapes with a train.
Yes.
I think. There's another thing. That's another project I'm working on, which I can't mention, but there's guy that played Columbo's in it, and he comes after watching an aeroplane flying over. Observation. He's hiding. He's on his way to Rome, and there's a aqueduct.
Something.
That's the one. Yeah, well done.
Yes.
I can remember the scenarios and the film, but I can never remember the name of them.
It's like name that tune in 5.
Yeah. So, and also at the beginning of Casablanca, there's a monoplane like that over wing plane lands. So yeah. It's based upon. So it's got a lot of scenarios you can use.
Escape, etc. Yeah, there's loads of things.
Yeah.
But what's the newsletter this weekend? Because people will be spotting that along with some other goodies. And of course, we've got a couple of questions again to just quickly ask you there, Gary. One of the questions was about the little boat that you showed off, because the terrain tonight. Lots of kudos and thumbs up for what we've got there and done for Karl. But the little boat, the boat builders, is there any chance of seeing a completed skiff boat?
There was no plan. There was no plan for it.
But now someone suggested it.
After Project 5.
So yeah, we'll squeeze one in, bros. I'd like to see someone do a converted one here and just see how it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, with the way it's made, it literally is this is the damaged one. They're just glued straight on. So the ribs, the actual skeleton of a boat is there. So and it's got the ability. Well, this is the better version in that it's actually got the deck supports in there, so you could clad it if you wanted to. I'd use a thinner card than 1 mil. I'd use something a bit thinner to plank it up, but it would be fun to see.
Bottle card or something.
Yeah. So it's very possible.
Absolutely. Can we have a look at that derelict building one more time? Because it's lovely. The mansion. This is the mansion.
The house.
That's the one.
That's the outside. I'll show you the inside in a sec. So there we go.
Scooby-Doo all over it, that.
No wonder Karl's well happy with those.
So you have the it's the upstairs on the first floor.
Yeah.
And the I've got so much stuff.
Yeah. There you go, Steve. Shrimping boat from
Yeah.
That's lovely, Gary. Nice.
So as you can see, they match very well with our Old West stuff.
So that's going to fit in with the derelict Wild West. Will just sit in fact, I think I saw a picture of one of the scenarios from the Kickstarter. They're actually using some of the Wild West buildings, the sort of shacks that are leaning over towards one side with the sort of fishing tackle gear here, old signs on the outside near.
And again, a lot of these have been the lighthouse and there's a keeper's cottage that goes with it, which is based upon an actual lighthouse and keeper's cottage. So it's the real shape. So a lot of these buildings will have something that you'll see a likeness of. You'll see that's a 1880s house in wherever. And you'll get a feel that you've seen that before. So which is all our aim.
Yeah. So a quick job on a shipping trawler instead of a shrimping boat because I'll get told off for being in the wrong ocean there. And then we'll be well away, won't we? There's some great stuff coming, Gary. And yeah, thanks for having a chat with Karl tonight. That was really good.
Oh.
I think quite a few people have seen it now and enjoy that. And we've got lots of links which we can throw in to show people the way to the Kickstarter pages, help him along there and give him some support. And we'll look forward to seeing some scenarios, and hopefully we'll sneak a game out of the bits, and we'll get some shots on the table of it all in action.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But before we leave, I think we might want to tease a little bit about next show. So, Steve, would you mind just mentioning just a little bit about what we're going to talk about?
In the right language.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I can't even speak English, and you want me. So, yeah, we've been showing it off a little bit, so it's not like going to be a big surprise. But we've got a rather large, extensive Mediterranean range that's coming very, very soon. So we'll show that off and talk about it, and show some of the adaptability and the flexibility, the way you can put them together, and what you can change and swap around. And
there's only 58 options or so of the basic range.
Well, yeah, it's 58 built options with instructions, and then you start swapping bits around on them.
We haven't even got to the farmsteads and stuff, so there you go. So we'll be talking about that in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks time. So I believe that's the 25th, and it'll be, I think, I'm going to check the date now. That's the 25th, 2 weeks' time, and we'll be talking Mediterranean and showing off some of the options and ins and outs of what's going to be coming out on the 28th.
Yes.
So without further ado, I think we'll say goodnight to everybody.
Yeah.
Seen us for long enough, rambling on. Check out the links. Make sure you go and check out Karl's Kickstarter. See what's going on there.
Yes.
Lovely figures and some lovely terrain.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time,
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget the newsletter and check out YouTube for some of the fly arounds of stuff to come. Talk soon.
Right. Cheers. Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.